Krishna 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 Hare Ram Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to today's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. We are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 4, Sri Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. And in that, we were reading about how Mahaprabhu is glorifying Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. So, what we read yesterday was, first of all, the nature of devotional services, not just devotional service, the nature of Gadha Prema, intense love, is one does not even consider his personal distress or suffering when he doesn't consider at all. Basically, all he is concerned about is how the beloved is pleased, and in order to serve the beloved, he will go to any extent. And of course, the only person who deserves to be who deserves to receive this type of unconditional love is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then, of course, Tadiya, right? Those who are related to him, they also, the spiritual master, the devotees. But only Krishna can receive this type of unconditional love. Of course, that's a side point. But when there is such love, intense love, then one doesn't consider personal pain. So then, what we were reading yesterday was that, so this is the nature of pure love, that one doesn't even consider any suffering, personal suffering. Madhavendra Puri is such a devotee, that is already established. Mahaprabhu is personally saying to Nityananda Prabhu and others, Madhavendra Puri is such a devotee whose love is so intense. Now then, what is the Lord's purpose? If he knows Madhavendra Puri is such a devotee, what is his purpose in uh, giving trouble to such a devotee? Right? Why should he ask Madhavendra Puri to walk all the way from Govardhan to Jagannath Puri and carry such a load of chandan on his back? His purpose, that's what Mahaprabhu is saying here. Krishna's purpose is to show the world what is the love of Madhavendra Puri. Through this incident, the whole world will get to see what kind of a devotee is Madhavendra Puri. So just as the devotee is trying to glorify Krishna, Krishna also takes great pleasure in glorifying such a devotee. So we only covered 2 verses yesterday. Sri Gopal wanted to show how intensely Madhavendra Puri loved Krishna. Therefore, he asked him to go to Nilachal to fetch sandalwood and camphor. With great trouble and after much labor, Madhavendra Puri brought the load of sandalwood to Remana. However, he was still very pleased. He discounted all the difficulties. So that's what we were reading yesterday. He didn't consider the pain and trouble. He was simply satisfied that, and he was not just satisfied, he was feeling great bliss in that difficulty. So that was the theme yesterday we were discussing. How in they don't consider that pain to be pain at all. They don't, rather, actually, I remembered one more while I was talking. Yesterday, I gave you the example of His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. He was suffering with this cancer, this terrible, very, very painful cancer. Literally, his bones were breaking. Once he was just uh, being driven to the temple in Gita Nagari, right? From his house to the temple. They were just driving him. It's not too far, right? Right there on campus. But while driving, he just broke, just sitting there, like I guess bump or something. His bone just broke. Literally, his body was falling apart. His bones were breaking. If you have any experience of how painful it is, what to speak of a bone, a fracture of the bone, even when a muscle ligament gets, stretched or torn, how painful it is. So this is the pain that he was undergoing. And just in one line, I'll just tell you, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was with him. He requested, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj requested Radhanath Maharaj to stay with him until he left his body. And he said, I'm not going to stay long. The doctors have already given their word. Maybe another, I think, like 3 days or something, maximum 1 week. Maybe 3 days. I'm going to leave soon. It's like the final stage. But I want to die in your arms, like that. So Radhanath Maharaj, although he had so many responsibilities, he came to America every year and he had so many engagements, right? Meeting with devotees and programs and classes and projects. But because his friend and god brother requested, right, to die in his arms, he just put everything else on hold and he said he'll stay. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj continued to live for another 3 weeks. He was supposed to leave like the next day or something, literally. He said, I'm just dying now. I just want to die. But every day, nobody knew how much longer. And he just kept on living. I don't know exactly, was it 3 weeks or more? He lived longer, a lot, a lot longer than expected. I don't know if it is 7 weeks or 3 weeks, I'm not sure. But he actually lived much longer. But every day it was like, so, and he was in pain. The point is, he was in such severe pain. And so many devotees were coming to see him at that time. Many devotees who had become bitter of Krishna consciousness. Krishna, not about Krishna consciousness, but who had left the movement because of, they had some bad experiences. But they all were coming to see Maharaj, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, because he was giving up his body. And when they came, he was able to turn their hearts back to the service of Srila Prabhupada now, to serve the movement. So many of them were experiencing a transformation of heart simply coming in contact with him. If it were not for Maharaj at that time, it was almost impossible for these devotees to, because they were so broken-hearted with whatever has happened in their lives. They didn't want to meet with devotees again like that, like want to do anything with devotees. But they came for Maharaj, and once again they connected. And Radhanath Maharaj says that he was just sitting there and watching the dealings between Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and the devotees when they came. He said, right in front of my eyes, I could see His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj doing a surgery, like a surgeon who removes a tumor. So he was literally doing a surgery and transforming the hearts of all these devotees. And it was amazing. It was not possible. It would not have been possible. And then Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj says, it would not be possible even for me to do that. It was because of this cancer, because I was dying, that I was able to. So many devotees, they got inspired by coming in touch with him. And he stayed longer, much longer than what the doctors had said he would stay for. And while he stayed, he rendered so much service, he inspired so many devotees to take up this devotional service more seriously once again. And at that time, Maharaj said, just one more point. He was in so much pain, that so all day, every day, for several hours, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj would go and read. They would discuss Krishna Katha. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would be laying on his bed and Maharaj would be speaking about Krishna Katha. But sometimes, on certain days, the pain was so severe, the suffering was so severe that he couldn't even listen. He was not able to focus. He was in such pain. And at that time, because Maharaj was not able to focus, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Radhanath Maharaj would simply chant Hare Krishna. And in that severe pain, while he was listening to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, tears would come from his eyes, and he would simply say, even in that pain, there would be this bright smile on his face. If you have seen pictures or if you have seen His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj personally, he had such a, such a wonderful smile. So in that severe pain, he just, smiled. His face just, uh, opened up in a smile, and he said, amazing, amazing, right? And he said, I would not trade my condition for anything in the whole world. I wouldn't trade this suffering that I have for anything in the whole world. So what I'm trying to say here is, for a devotee who has that type of love, commitment and love for Krishna, it is not that when difficulties come, forget about complaining and bickering. That is not even there. But even it's not simply tolerating the pain. You see, you tolerate, you accept it, and you just bear it. You tolerate. It's not even that. It's even higher than that. They actually relish, they enjoy taking up that type of suffering for the sake of Krishna, and they ask for it, like Kunti Maharani, praying to Krishna, give us those calamities again and again. This is inconceivable for someone who does not have that type of love. You cannot imagine, you cannot understand. But when somebody is actually able to relish that difficulty and pain because it is taken up in service of Krishna, you can understand this person, that person's love, standard of love for Krishna. So that was just another example that just came to my mind all of a sudden. But Madhavendra Puri had this love, but the world would not know. So therefore, Gopal put Madhavendra Puri through this situation in order to show his love to the whole world. What type of love Madhavendra Puri has for Krishna. And right. And Madhavendra Puri, what did he do? While while all he was bearing all that difficulty, but in his heart, he's feeling blissful. His only thought, the only feeling in his heart was Ananda. He was feeling great bliss while going through all that difficulty. He was not even conscious of that difficulty. Another example I just remembered, forgive me, but they're just coming, so I'm just sharing. But yesterday we were reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj, this is in the 10th canto, first chapter. Parikshit Maharaj is telling Sukadev Goswami that, my Lord Sukadev Goswami, please don't stop this Krishna Katha. Don't give a break, continue. This Krishna Katha, which is coming from your mouth, it is like, your mouth is like a lotus flower. And Krishna Katha, it's Hari Katha is Amritam, it's nectarian. And when this nectar is specifically coming from the lotus, it has the additional sweetness of the lotus. Nectar itself is sweet, but the nectar coming from lotus is even sweeter. And because of this extra sweetness, when I drink it, it's making me intoxicated. It's making me so intoxicated. It is so intoxicating that practically I'm becoming numb. I'm becoming numb or senseless to all types of material pains or pleasures, or even fear. Fear of death is the greatest fear. I don't even feel anything, right? The fear of death doesn't bother me. And the pain of hunger and thirst for 4 days, almost 4 days completed. He didn't eat or drink or anything. He was simply listening to Krishna Katha. And after 3 days, he was going to give up his body by a snake bite. No anxieties whatsoever. He's simply relishing Krishna Katha. And he's so eager to hear Krishna Katha more and more. So this is the state of one who has that love for the Supreme Lord. So he is completely impervious, right, to any sort of material pains, pleasures, insults, honor, nothing. They don't affect him at all. He's completely filled. His heart is filled with love for Krishna. So there's no room for anything else, nothing material. It's simply filled with love for Krishna, like that. So Madhavendra Puri also, while he's carrying this heavy load of on his back, he's carrying this chandan and camphor with no money to pay to the tax collectors, no fear, no anxiety, no trouble. The only feeling in his heart is ecstasy. I'm taking chandan for my Gopal. Finally, my Gopal is going to get chandan, like that. So that is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is highlighting to his uh, associates while he was speaking about Madhavendra Puri. Parikha korite Gopal koilo agya dan. Parikha koriya sheshe hoilo dayavan. Right? So in order to test, pariksha means to test. Pariksha korite Gopal koilo agya dan. So he gave this order, go and bring Chandan. Gopal gave this order to Madhavendra. Why? To test. Not really to test whether Madhavendra will do or not. No doubt he will do it. But when he does it and he passes that test, the whole world will get to see. Right? Not that, okay, let me see how qualified is my devotee, let me see. But he's like, his love is hidden. This love that Madhavendra Puri, because the Lord wants to glorify his devotee. So in Madhavendra Puri, why to Madhavendra Puri, bring Chandan for me. My body is so hot. Uh, I need Chandan to cool my body down. Madhavendra Puri went, and he actually brought. Then did Krishna make him walk all the way to Vrindavan with that load? No. Pariksha koriya sheshe hoilo dayavan. And when the test was completed, what was the test? Whether he's willing to do it or not. He actually did it. And he walked with the Lord. Only up to Remuna he came. But the test was complete. Hoilo dayavan. The Lord became merciful to his devotee. He didn't want him to carry it all the way. There's no need. I know you will do it anyway. Why should I bother to even, why should I waste your time and energy? I know you're going to do it anyway. So just forget it. Apply it all on Gopinath. You don't have to bring it to Vrindavan. So, in order to test, Gopal gave this order, bring Chandan. Once he passed the test, then the Lord became merciful. He didn't have him bring the Chandan all the way to Vraja. He became merciful. To test the intense love of Madhavendra Puri, Gopal, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, ordered him to bring sandalwood from Nilachal. And when Madhavendra Puri passed this examination, the Lord became very merciful to him. It's like, I remembered one more incident from Chaitanya Leela. Mukunda, Mukunda Dutt. So when in Navadvip, when Mahaprabhu was revealing his Aishwarya as the Supreme Lord, for 21 hours continuously he was revealing, and he was calling for the devotees one by their names, and he was revealing their identities, who they were in the spiritual world. They were all the associates of the Lord. And then Mukunda was also there, but the Lord was not calling for Mukunda. And he called everyone else, and he was blessing them, and they would come and he would say, ask me for something, I want to give you. Ask for a boon. And the devotees were in tears, and they would say, please bless my father with Krishna consciousness. Please bless my mother. Like that, they were just praying, not for themselves. But Mukunda, the Lord was not calling Mukunda. So the devotees were feeling bad, right? Why the Lord is not calling Mukunda? He's so sad. So then the Lord, they actually said, my Lord, Mukunda is waiting. Please call him. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expressed anger. Mukunda, that rascal, don't even take his name in front of me. In front of devotees, he pretends to be a devotee. And then he goes and mixes with the Mayavadis, and there he talks like them. This is like, in front you talk very sweet, and you go from behind and you stab a person. This type of hypocrisy is never appreciated. I never want to see his face. And when Mukunda heard this, he was like, uh, being rejected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Can you imagine the pain? And he was like, literally, he was feeling so uh, guilty, uh, and weeping, and the devotees were all feeling bad for him. And then finally, without coming in front of Mahaprabhu, he's asking the devotees, He's right there, but behind the curtain, right? Because the Mahaprabhu didn't want him to come in front of his eyes, so he was there behind a curtain or something, not showing himself in front of the Lord. But he could hear when whatever the Lord was saying, he could hear. So he said to the devotees, "Can you please ask the Lord if he will ever see me?" Right? He doesn't want to see me now. He's angry with me. Will there ever be a day when he will again see me? Can you please ask? So devotees went and asked, and the Lord answered, after 10 million lifetimes, after 10 million births, after Mukunda takes 10 million births, after that I will see him. Imagine this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead speaking. It's not a joke or anything, right? And Mukunda thought, see me after 10 million births. If you or I were there, what would we think? 10 million lifetimes, after that, the Lord will give his mercy. Until then, no mercy. And what was Mukunda's response to this? He genuinely became so ecstatic, he couldn't contain himself. I will see, I will see. And he started jumping and dancing. He was only 10 million births. Only 10 million births. Again, the same principle. Suffering does not matter. Being in the Lord's, being connected to the Lord, being a receiver of the Lord's mercy. That so he's jumping in ecstasy, dancing. I will see, I will see. Only 10 million births. After 10 million births, the Lord is going to see me. And Mahaprabhu, when he saw the ecstasy, genuine ecstasy of Mukunda, and the patience, imagine 10 million births, no problem, that's nothing. He will see after 10 million births. When the Lord saw, then the Lord said, just bring him. What is the use of this punishment? Again, it's like the same test that Madhavendra Puri went through, right? He would have actually gone through. He was prepared for it. What do we have in our capacity? Think about it. All we have is our desire. The things, wonderful things that we do, right? With our hands, with our mind, with our intelligence, with our speech, whatever we do, it's not ours. It's all the material nature who is a maidservant of the Lord. This body is not mine, and the body consists of, hands, legs, and everything, mind, intelligence, also part of the body. Subtle body, gross body. It's not mine. Before my parents conceived me, I didn't have all these things. It was provided by material nature. Then what is it that I have? I just have that desire, that intention. So the point is, how serious is this intention? How serious am I about how intensely, that's the word, like Madhavendra Puri's intense love. How intense is this? Is it just lip, right? Just up to words. Oh, I love, up to just in my words or just in my mind, I would like to enjoy. I love to do this. But if you're serious, you'll be willing to take any trouble. You'll be willing to take any risk, even up to the point of death, even up to the point of being rejected by your loved ones or society. This is if you have intense love. And that is what the Lord is testing. Does this devotee have that love or not for me? And everyone is at different levels. So from time to time, we'll get tests. And if we are actually truthful and honest, we will see. At least we should recognize. Artificially, we shouldn't think that, oh, I'm a great devotee, and live in that illusion for a many, many years. Years pass by and I'm thinking, oh, I'm a nice devotee, I'm a good devotee. When these tests come, then within your own heart, you will realize, what love do I have? I'm thinking about my own comforts or my extended self's comfort, right? Because I'm in the bodily concept, I think I'm this body. I'm concerned about the comforts of my body. Am I concerned, or I'm concerned about the comforts of those who are related to this body? Is that love of Krishna? So if I'm honest, then when I see this, how should I feel? It will only make me humble, isn't it? Oh, I'm not a devotee. Look at these devotees, what type of love they have. Madhavendra Puri, Mukunda Datta, what type of devotees they are, and what type of devotee am I? Somehow or other, with difficulty, I chant my 16 rounds, and I think, oh, I'm a great devotee. The whole idea of this chanting 16 rounds and even more and everything else is to develop that love for the Lord. And we don't have that love. What does Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? Beg for it. You have to beg for it. Beg from whom? Beg from those who have this love. Our acharyas, they have this love. You beg. While chanting, you beg for this love from Krishna. And when tests come, the tests will show to us and to everyone else how much love we have. Really, it is that these tests only, the testing is very important. That is why in schools there is tests. Because when there is a test, you actually see how much you have understood the subject, how much you have actually digested, right? You are able to reproduce it. Whatever you have heard, if you are able to produce it, reproduce it, that means you have understood. And if you are not able to do that, means you need to hear again and again and again until it nicely sits in your, not just your mind or brain, in your consciousness, in your heart. And then when you're tested, then it comes out. So these tests are very wonderful. They are good both ways, both when we pass and when we fail. In both cases, they are good, right? When we fail, it shows us, it makes us humble that you're not such a great devotee. You don't have so much love. And then you become humble. And in humility, you'll continue to chant, you'll continue to serve like that. So Mukunda Datta, he had this test, and what was his desire? How serious was he in his love? He is willing to live, take birth, and die 10 million times, and in between that birth and death, go through that life, right? All types of difficulties, old age, disease, struggle for existence, and everything. 10 million births, and he is prepared for it. What we have to focus on this is he's prepared for it. In that first instance itself, you can tell. As soon as one test is given to you, what is your approach to that test? Are you thinking, yes, I will accept it? Or you're thinking, oh, that's difficult, but if this is going to help me in Krishna consciousness, all right, I'll give it a try. You just see different levels. Or someone else, my God, that's too much. I cannot do that. I'm not there. I don't want it. I cannot take that risk. And there's another person like Mukunda Datta who's in ecstasy when he hears about tests. No problem. Wonderful. If this is what pleases the Lord, the gopis, right? Krishna wants the dust from their feet to put on his head because he's having a headache. Narad Muni comes from Dwaraka asking the gopis to give their foot dust. And what was their reaction? Immediately, they started rubbing their feet on the ground, collecting, here, take. If this uh, relieves Krishna of his headache, that's their eagerness, their preparedness. Narad Muni said, do you know what you're doing? Are you aware of the consequences of what you're doing? You'll go to hell. You'll be in hell for we don't know how long. You're touching your feet to the head of Krishna. And they said, of course we know that. We are, if our living in hell eternally can relieve Krishna of his headache even for a moment, we are prepared to do that. This is love. This is love. So love is not just a sentiment or a feeling. Love means you're willing to take up any risk for Krishna. And we see that in the lives of, it's not just theory, there are actual examples of devotees who lived like this and who live like this. Even today, there are devotees, but they don't want to come in, a limelight, and they're not after fame. So you may not see them. But there are devotees, and the Lord takes great pleasure in glorifying these devotees, in showing the whole world the love. Now, the Lord is himself tasting. So when a difficulty comes, how to test if I am actually having any love or not? How prepared am I to take it up? And not just prepared. You're prepared, then you have to actually bring it into action. If you're prepared, means you'll start making, you'll start acting on it, isn't it? It's not that you say yes, but then you don't do anything about it. That's also not good. He actually left. He made everything. Madhavendra made all arrangements to worship Gopal. He arranged, trained devotees, pujaris, and he left, walked. So that's all the Lord wants to see, right? And the Lord knows us better than we do about ourselves. We don't know ourselves so much. He knows us better. So when he sees that a devotee is ready and is doing it already, then he's like, what's the point? He doesn't have to go through the whole thing. You have passed the test. Never mind. You don't have to go through the whole. So many examples like this. Mukunda, the Lord said 10 million birds, and he was in ecstasy. He was prepared for it. He was actually genuinely very happy. And the Lord said, never mind. Why 10 million birds? He will go through it anyway. Just bring him here now. He doesn't have to go through 10 million birds. And Madhavendra Puri was carrying the Lord in great ecstasy, thinking of Gopal's pleasure. And the Lord said, Madhavendra Puri, don't bother bringing the Chandan all the way to Govardhan. Myself and Gopinath, we are the same person. It's the same body. So you apply Chandan on Gopinath, I'll become cool here in Govardhan. No need. So, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that in order to test Madhavendra Puri, Gopal gave the order, Gopal, the Supreme Lord, gave the order, go bring Chandan. And once Madhavendra passed the test, then the Lord said, never mind. He became merciful. Oh, why my poor devotee has to go through so much difficulty? He's going to do it anyway. There's no need. No need. He became merciful. A Bhakti Bhakta Priya Krishna Vyavahar Bujiteo Amasabara Nahi Adhikar. See, Mahaprabhu is saying, Bujiteo Amasabara Nahi Adhikar. We don't have the adhikar, we don't have the qualification to understand the type of love, the type of bhakti that Madhavendra Puri has, and the type of behavior between the devotee and Krishna, right? How Krishna is reciprocating with devotee. What is Krishna thinking? First he's testing and then he's becoming merciful. Why the Lord is doing this? To understand this, it is not within our capacity. We cannot understand. Mahaprabhu is telling his associates, Ei Bhakti, Bhakta Priya Krishna Vyavahar. So what is this bhakti? And what is the behavior of Krishna towards his devotee? Krishna, who is Bhakta Priya, who loves, like Vishnu Priya means one who is dear to Vishnu. Radha Priya means one who is dear to Radha. Krishna Priya means one who is dear to Krishna. Bhakta Priya means one who is dear to Bhakta, or one to whom Bhaktas are very dear. Both ways, right? Bhakta Priya. He loves his Bhaktas. So Krishna, who loves his Bhaktas, why he behaves like this? First he gives them difficulty and then he becomes merciful. Why he behaves like this? To understand this is not within our capacity. Nice. So, A bhakti, this type of bhakti, Madhvendrapur is bhakti. Bhakta Priya Krishna Vyavahar, this type of bhakti we cannot understand. And Bhakta Priya Krishna Vyavahar, the behavior of Krishna who loves his devotees or who is the beloved of his devotees. Bujiteo ama savara nahi adhikar. To understand this, all of us don't have qualification. So, such behavior exhibited in loving service between the devotee and the devotee's lovable object, Sri Krishna. Okay, so Bhakta Priya means just like Vishnu Priya. Bhakta Priya means one who is dear to Bhakta, like that. Okay, Bhakta Priya means one who is dear to Bhakta. So, Bhakti and Bhakta Priya Krishna. Krishna, who is beloved of his devotee. That Krishna's behavior and this type of bhakti. Bhakti means devotee's behavior towards Krishna. So to understand this bhakti of the devotee as well as Krishna's reciprocation, Krishna who is very dear to the devotees, his reciprocation. To understand this is not within all of our capacity. Such behavior exhibited in loving service between the devotee and the devotee's lovable object, Sri Krishna, is transcendental. It is not possible for a common man to understand. Common men do not even have the capacity. So we can stop there today. I actually went over time, but I do that all the time. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. We'll continue tomorrow.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.